Hello there, folks. I thought I would talk to you about Dana Paramita. The reason is because somebody asked me to talk about the Paramitas in Buddhism. And I should say here, and I say this a lot, I think, that I'm not a Buddhist scholar. And I think some of the criticisms I've received on this YouTube channel are people who are criticizing me for not being enough of a Buddhist scholar. Like, for example, the other day I got a guy saying that I said something about Zen Buddhism or in the Zen tradition. He said, you don't understand the Zen tradition, you're just a little twig on the Zen tradition. And I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm not a scholar, and when somebody asks, for example, and did ask, about the Paramitas, I had to go up and look it up, and I ended up on Wikipedia's page looking up what the Paramitas are. I mean, of course, I've heard of the Paramitas, and I have a general idea of what they are. They mean the perfections, and they're a formula that comes out of early Buddhism that talks about different things that you're supposed to do to be a good Buddhist. That's putting it in a very stupid way, but that's basically how it goes. And there are different versions. The Theravada Paramitas are different from the Tibetan Paramitas, are different from the generalized Mahayana Paramitas. And when I was looking it up in Dogen, and now like I said, I'm not a Buddhist scholar, and also I'm doing this quickly, I couldn't find much about the Paramitas. But I did remember a chapter called Bodhisattva Shishobo, 4 Elements of a Bodhisattva's Social Relations. And this one does mention the Paramitas. And I wrote about this in my book, It Came From Beyond Zen. I did my own little translation or not translation, paraphrase of this chapter. And what I'd like to do for you today is I'll read the bit about Dana Paramita, free giving, just as it appears in the Nishijima Cross version, and then I'll make some comments on it. This is quite different, I think, from the version that appears in It Came From Beyond Zen, which I just reread to familiarize myself with what's in there. But this is much closer to what Dogen actually wrote. Oh, it's all shiny. So these are the 4 elements of a bodhisattva's social relations, so that there's 3 others. The 4 are free giving, kind speech, helpful conduct, and identity of purpose or cooperation. But we're only going to talk about free giving, dana. And dana is one of these words you've probably heard if you've ever gone to a yoga class or a Buddhist or thing of any kind when they want donations. They sometimes use the word dana as almost a euphemism for donations. So it sounds like donations. Did I say this on this YouTube channel before? I feel like I did. Free giving means not being greedy. Not being greedy means not coveting. Not coveting means, in everyday language, not courting favor. And according to the little footnote that Nishijima Roshi gives you, he says that Dogen is using 3 different Japanese words to explain the Chinese characters fusei, which is how they translate free giving, dana. So, even if we rule the 4 continents, if we want to bestow the teaching of the right truth, we must simply not be greedy. Sounds good? That might mean, for example, donating treasures that are to be thrown away to people we do not know. Well, I donated a lot of my books over the last couple of months, so I guess I did that. I got that base covered. When we offer flowers from distant mountains to the Tathagata, that's the Buddha, and when we donate treasures accumulated in our past life to living beings, whether the gift is dharma or material objects, in each case we are originally endowed with the virtue that accompanies free giving. That sounds pretty good. Past life can also be read as past lives. As I've said before, there are no true plurals in Japanese. So Nishijima Roshi preferred not to get into the topic of reincarnation, so I'm sure that's why he translated that as past life, to give the impression of just our life in the past. But Dogen might be talking about past lives. There is a Buddhist principle that even if things are not our own, this does not hinder our free giving. And when I wrote about that in It Came From Beyond Zen, I made a point to say, don't just take something from somebody else and give it away. I was afraid people might take that the wrong way. But it means this idea that nothing is really our own. It's a philosophical idea in Buddhism, and I think Dogen is talking here to people who might be pedantic and say, well, according to Buddhism, nothing really belongs to us. How can we give anything away? And he's saying, well, even giving away something that is not your own doesn't hinder free giving. And a gift is not to be hated for its small value, but its effect should be real. That's easy enough. You should give nice stuff. When we leave the truth to the truth, we attain the truth. Now, I like that line. That's Dogen getting a little mystical here. When we leave the truth to the truth, we attain the truth. So it means we don't have to know the truth. There's a kind of greediness, sort of spiritual greediness that sometimes happens when people practice Zen, that they want to know the truth. We don't have to know the truth. You more have to leave the truth be the truth, and that's how you attain it. When we attain the truth inevitably continues to be left to the truth. There you go, you can't do nothing about it. When possessions are left to be possessions, possessions inevitably turn into gifts. That one I found interesting, and in the book I said, my own possessions, which I was looking around the room where I was writing, which were a bunch of books about monster movies and pop culture and rock music and stuff. And in a way I could frame those as gifts by saying my knowledge of that stuff, that sort of pop culture-y stuff, enables me to be a person who can translate Buddhism to sort of regular people. I'm not trying to brag on myself. I'm hoping that from there you can kind of see ways in which your own possessions are gifts. The things that you possess become kind of gifts to others. If you possess a lot of cooking stuff, that might enable you to cook stuff for people, and then that's a gift to others. We give ourselves to ourselves, and we give the external world to the external world. That's another little mystical saying that I take to mean that even sort of helping yourself is a way of giving to the world, because if you're healthy and reasonably happy, then you give your health and your happiness to others by not being a burden upon them. That's a way you can do that. Giving the external world to the external world is kind of, to me, it means more like just leaving things be as they are, allowing things to be as they are. The direct and indirect influences of this giving pervade far into the heavens above and through the human world, even reaching the wise and the sacred who have experienced the effect. Experience the effect means become enlightened. The reason is that in becoming giver and receiver, the subject and object of giving are connected. This is why the Buddha says, when a person who gives comes into an assembly, others admire that person from the beginning. Remember, the mind of such a person is tacitly understood. I think that's pretty easy. The idea of giver, receiver, and gift are one. So this is getting into the kind of oneness, non-dualistic ideas of Buddhism that we give. When we give, the gift and the receiver and the gift are all one continuum, not three different things. We should freely give even a single word or a single verse of Dharma, and it will become a good seed in this life and in other lives. There you go, reincarnation again. We should freely give even a single penny or a single grass stalk of alms, and it will sprout a good root in this age and in other ages. Dharma can be a treasure, and material gifts can be dharma. It may depend upon people's hopes and pleasures. Truly, a gift of a beard can regulate a person's mind, and the service of sand can gain a throne. Now, those are two arcane references to old Buddhist stories, and you don't really need to know what they are, but it's saying that anything can be a gift. Anything that you choose to give can be a gift. Such givers covet no reward, but just share according to their ability. To provide a boat or to build a bridge are free giving as the Dana Paramita, and that turns out, if you read the footnote, is a little pun on the sound of the word Dana Paramita, and it doesn't matter, but it's just one of these little things that Dogen does. But that doesn't make sense when you translate it into English. When we learn giving well, both receiving the body and giving up the body are free giving. And I translate that as both living and dying are free giving. So our life and our death are a gift to the world. Our life is a gift to the world if we use it to make the world a better place, to help people, to make people happy, and so forth and so on. It's very easy. And our death is a gift to the world by getting out of the way for the next generation of folks who want to do their thing. And if we stayed around, they wouldn't have room. So even our death is a gift. And here's my favorite line. Earning a living and doing productive work are originally nothing other than free giving. I've talked about this before, and I came across this at a time when I was really having a tough time at the job I was doing at Subaraya Productions, and it really meant a lot to me to hear Dogen saying that even earning a living is free giving. And it's true, we want to give to society, and we want to work. Everybody wants to work. And those of us who deny that we want to work usually end up working anyway. You know, if you say that you want to be lazy and just play video games all day, well, you play video games in the spirit of working, so maybe you ought to be doing something to make the world a better place, or maybe playing video games makes the world a better place too. But the thing is, earning a living is free giving originally. It's the way we parse it out by making salaries part of it, and everything else makes it seem complicated and make it seem like you're working to get the paycheck, but you're actually working to give to the world, and you don't know it, and the way that is reciprocated by the world is in the form of a paycheck. That's what Nishijima Roshi told me once, and I thought, you're an interesting fellow, Nishijima Roshi. Leaving flowers to the wind and leaving birds to time may also be the meritorious conduct of free giving. That's one of these weird sentences, and Nishijima Roshi, says leaving owls to hoot at night and cocks to crow in the morning is what leaving birds to time means, but he doesn't say what leaving flowers to the wind means, but maybe leaving flowers to the wind means just, letting flowers blow away in the wind. Just leaving things be as they are. Again, he says that. Both givers and receivers should thoroughly learn the truth which certifies the great King Ashoka being able to serve half a mango as an offering for hundreds of monks is a wide and great service of offerings. That's a weird sentence, and it refers to some arcane old Buddhist story that you don't need to know. Let's keep moving. We should not only muster the energy of our body, but should also take care not to overlook suitable opportunities. So any opportunity you have to give is an opportunity, and don't overlook them. Truly, it is because we are originally equipped with the virtue of free giving that we have received ourselves as we are now. This goes back to the idea that I said a couple of videos ago, which is that even our life is a service to others. I said that a couple minutes ago in this video, but I also gave a whole video about that one. The idea that we are here to help others. We are here because somebody needs our help. That's what he's saying we are born to do, and finding what thing we're supposed to help others with is our duty in life. The Buddha says, it is possible to receive and use giving even if the object is oneself, and it is all the easier to give to parents, wives, and children. So even giving to your family or giving to yourself is a way of giving, but watch out for that because you can use it as an excuse to be greedy. Clearly, to practice it by oneself is one kind of free giving, and to give to parents, wives, and children may also be free giving. So he kind of reiterates the same thing. He's probably doing that because the quotation he did in the beginning is in Chinese, and he's probably translating that into Japanese for our audience. But then we get for his audience, But then we get them both translated into English when you read a translation. When we can give up even one speck of dust for free giving, though it is our own act, we will quietly rejoice in it because we have already received the authentic transmission of one of the virtues of the Buddhas, and because for the first time we will be practicing one of the methods of a bodhisattva. So these are what a bodhisattva does. So you become a bodhisattva by doing the things that a bodhisattva does. You don't become a bodhisattva and then you do the things a bodhisattva does. When you do the things that a bodhisattva does, that's when you're a bodhisattva. What is hard to change is the mind of living beings. Tell me about it, Dogen. By starting with a gift, we begin to change the mental state of living beings, after which we resolve to change them until they attain the truth. Wow, we have a big job ahead of us. At the outset, we should always make use of free giving. This is why the first of the 6 paramitas is the dana paramita, and that's why I did this. And I'm going to read to you what the paramitas are. Here we go. Giving freely, observance of precepts, forbearance, diligence, the balanced state of zazen, or balanced state of meditation, and wisdom. So they are dana, sila, kshanti, virya, dhyana, and prajna paramita. And like I said, there's different lists of paramitas, so, there you go. The bigness or smallness of mind is beyond measurement, and the bigness or smallness of things is also beyond measurement. There's him being mystical and talking about non-dualism again. But there are times when mind changes things, and there is free giving in which things change mind. So that's what Dogen says about free giving. That's one of that's the first of the paramitas in pretty much every list of the paramitas. I'll see if I can talk about the other paramitas. But I think it's interesting stuff. If what I said isn't clear, please, send me a message or something. I don't want to make these videos immensely long and try to explain every little thing about it. But as I said, I wrote about it in It Came From Beyond Zen. I actually wrote about it also in Sit Down and Shut Up. And I'm talking about it here, and I've talked about it on the blog and other places too. So there you go. That's what I wanted to say about at least one of the paramitas, so I hope that my questioner is at least partially satisfied. If you want to do free giving to me, and I swear to God that's not why I did this video, but it's a nice tie-in, you can send a donation to the address you are seeing below on your screen, and there are links directly to PayPal and Patreon if you're watching on YouTube, and they're below in the video description. Thank you very much for those donations. That's how I make my living. That is really the sole source of income I have right now, and I really appreciate it. But if you're having financial trouble, don't give to me, because, I'm hanging in there and managing pretty well on the donations that other people are giving. So thank you very much for those. Even the small donations are very helpful. See you next time. Have a good time all the time. Bye.